gave a dollar amount. We'll go for
Right.
a test of this dollar amount, you know, on this
Right,
dollar amount.
right.
If now that policy will supersede every one of these qualifications. If the policy says no, if there's a $0 accident, $0, you go to the hospital no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, some companies tied their post-accident testing to their deductible. Okay, you had a company liability deductible of $1,000.
Right.
If you had an accident that resulted in property loss less than $1,000, you got the get out of jail free card,
Right.
unless there was a reasonable suspicion component to the incident. And then we sent you under the premise of reasonable suspicion.
Right, which adds to her point with the discrimination, because that can be the final say on any accident.
But then you better have
documented
your reasonable suspicion.
Right.
It all comes back to,
That's
you know,
your post-accident analysis, the reasonable suspicion.
it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right. Right, and even with the post-accident analysis with reasonable suspicion, you need, if the MRO requests documentation prior to that, you need to have it, because if you don't, they won't do it.
They won't do the test?
Well, they'll do the test, but as far as falling back on your policy, under the reasonable suspicion portion, you have to have documentation leading up to why you're sending this person for a drug test, whether it's post-accident or just you see them or you smell them coming in drunk. You know, that, I'm just saying that would lead to your point on the discrimination, because an employee, unfortunately, in our society, is 7 attorneys for every one employer who's ready and willing to take any lawsuit, frivolous or non-frivolous.
We're not stupid, we all make money.
Sorry, guys.
Is there anybody here an attorney?
You can tell jokes if you like. She's heard them all.
I don't know if you've heard some of the ones I've got. Agree or disagree? There's a legal system and there's a justice system. The two are not the same.
I understand what you're saying, but somebody comes into your office and you hear their facts and it sounds reasonable. I used to do claimants work. I now do defense workers' comp. Boy, the stories change from each side of the table.
And you know, and that's where your accident, and that's kind of why I like the accident reporting. One of the other things that we do are fire investigations, and when I look at interviewing people, same event, 3 different people, I'll get a 180-degree phase different version of what took place. And that's where you've got to be able to sift through the information. That's why having a checklist for your reasonable suspicion testing is not an option, it's an absolute. You have to have it. You have to have it.
Well, and
Hands down.
if you can get employee's accident description right after it happens, before he has time to think about it.
Yep.
If they file a comp claim or any other kind of a claim, you have his statements that are contemporaneous to the accident, and that's what can save you a lot of time.
You wait even 8 hours.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, and information can change.
Well, he could see his attorney by that time.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Some other components about drug testing. Base of drug testing is going from a 5-panel to a 6-panel test. 5-panel to a 6-panel test. You can always add on to what other products you want to assess for, but you can't take away. And I found this kind of interesting when they decided to add ecstasy or MDMA as that 6th component. If you look a little deeper as to why that's being added, it should give you some insight as to why wasn't it there before? Or is that making a statement of that product is still present at a point of usage that we need to be concerned? I mean, some street drugs kind of come and go. You know, there used to be, you know, a practice called speedballing. You would take, a depressant and something that would kick you out. And it had kind of a wacky effect to it. Don't see a lot of that much anymore. And some use of some products kind of wax and wane over the years, depending upon the availability. So MDMA, ecstasy has been added. Also added is the 6-acetylmorphine 6 a.m. test for verification of heroin presence. All right, they're popping that in there. That's telling me, at least right now, or when they make consideration for alteration of this policy, that they had statistically information, probably from BCI, that heroin's making a resurgence in the state for usage. Cutoff levels are being lowered for coke and amphetamines. How many of you are familiar with methamphetamine? Exactly how familiar are you with methamphetamine?
I'm a trainer. I do all of the training, so.
Okay. All right.
Like today?
I know, when I took my methamphetamine, just so you understand, methamphetamine, cheap to produce, very mobile. A lot of times, the trend we originally saw with methamphetamine was it was primarily a rural-based production. We're seeing that shifted now to some resurgence in an urban-based production that becomes very mobile. Summit County, last 5 years running in the state of Ohio, highest concentration of methamphetamine labs in the state, right in our back door. Right, so it's here. There's also going to be a new chain of custody form associated with the drug and alcohol testing. I have not been able to get eyes on that form. Yes, ma'am.
So now, actually, it's a 7-panel test, right?
Well, they're saying a 6-panel, and we're adding on a couple other products, so I guess in essence it's a 7-panel test.
We have temps that we use, and I require that they get a drug screen before they come in. And I think they do it right there on site. They do 5-panel. So is this going to be added in automatically?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Or do I have to request?
whoever's doing the testing, the lab that does the actual testing, and the collection site, whether it's a mobile collection site or if you're sending someone to, an existing lab, make sure when you call or whoever you contract with that they're aware of these additional requirements. Temporaries, what do you do for your drug testing on your people now? Do you have somebody comes in, you send them someplace, or how do you do that?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, they'll do instance or they'll do lab.
Okay.
We follow what the customer requests.
Okay. Yeah, wherever you're sending them to, whatever Achmed service you're sending them to, or whatever mobile service you're using, make sure they know that when they see your employees that they have to do this. All right, here's another little bit of a change. Under the advanced, Under the advanced program, you have to provide assessment of the problem, and you cannot terminate on first positive. Not always. I mean, if you find Joe Halal out in your back parking lot selling crack cocaine to everybody that's pulling in, and you're at the advanced level, I think you might be able to qualify terminating that employee. And they have some exceptions articulated perhaps in your policy that gives you latitude for case-by-case determination. Where that could become complicated, if you're working with a union or a bargaining unit, that complicates it, because typically in those kinds of documents or contracts, they want definitives. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with police and fire, they want definitives. Who's staying, who's going. Under the basic program, if you participate at the basic level, you have to offer a list of community resources to the employees, and you may opt to terminate on first positive.
there any rationale as to why the difference